Hello, everybody, and welcome in to halftime here at Stoney Creek High School as the Cougars are up 20-6 over the Southfield A&T Warriors. For Sportscaster.com and WJR, my name is Giovanni Moceri, alongside Taryn Fritzsching and Ethan Pavey, joining me here on the sideline. And before we get into the game here, we have some tragic news from the world of Michigan high school athletics. Coach Al Facasa of Brother Rice football passed away earlier this week at the age of 92. A winner of 9 state championships and his over 40 years at Brother Rice, including three straight state championships in his final 3 seasons, Coach Facasa's legacy will live on forever through the thousands of young men that he has mentored on and off the field. Our thoughts and our prayers go out to the Facasa family and to all of his former Brother Rice Warriors. 92 years old and a great legacy to leave behind. That's one of the greats.
Absolutely. I mean, I saw the news earlier this week, and I was like, we have to bring it to the broadcast. An absolute legacy to leave in such an amazing atmosphere here.
And now to the Warriors here on the field tonight against the Stoney Creek Cougars. This game starting off with the Warriors up 6-0. It's been 20 straight points for the Cougars ever since.
Whew. I mean, hey, the high snap with the missed PAT, that just set everything apart. Stoney Creek was like, we're not letting this happen. And then obviously, regardless of the fact that the PAT after the 20th point was missed, 20-6 is still absolutely insane. I mean, I think that my prediction is a little closer.
Okay, not to brag, right?
Well, not to brag or anything, but I just need 2 touchdowns by Stoney Creek and 1 touchdown by Southfield A&T. But Southfield A&T, they drove 2 times down the field, 2 promising long drives. One didn't quite end up how they wanted, but still ending with that pick 6. But still, it's still something to look forward to in halftime in the locker room. I know they might have not had like this kind of experience going into this game, starting league play, but this is a lot that they can build off of going into the second half. I think they have a lot of hope for this second half, and it says a lot about their coaching and about their resilience as a team. And let's see how they perform coming out of this halftime.
And one big theme about this first half was flags. Oh, my goodness. The flags were everywhere in the first half, stalling drives and giving the advantage to the opposite team. I mean, they have been everywhere tonight. Both teams are going to have to clean that up in the second half, no doubt.
I mean, I think it's been more beneficial, honestly, for Stoney Creek. They had a loss of yards down in the opposite end zone, and I don't recall what it was. It might have been a holding, but they gained those yards back because the flags have been absolutely insane. Whether it's an offsides on the kick, and it's like I'm shocked. I'd be surprised if both teams don't try and clean that up because that has been such a huge factor for both teams, honestly.
For sure. I'm just going to add on what you were talking about. That last possession that Stoney Creek scored right before halftime. They were charging down the field, and then just flag after flag held them back. They got it to a 3rd and 1. They tried to go for it on a little tush push from the Eagles. Couldn't get it, went for it again, got it, and then a nice 20-yard throw for the touchdown, putting them up 20-6 going into halftime. But I feel like Stoney Creek's kind of shooting themselves in their own foot right now. If they can clean that up, I think it's going to be a whole different story in the second half for Stoney Creek, and hopefully Southfield A&T can follow that up.
Now, I want to get into kind of the strengths and weaknesses that we've seen from each team so far. For Southfield A&T, they have a passing game that is lethal at times, and they've had big plays as they march their way down the field. Haven't been able to punch it in as many times, but their quarterback is no joke.
Oh, yeah. Just looking at their quarterback throughout the game, his pocket presence has been tremendous. He can read what the defense is giving him, see if he needs to scramble out of the pocket to make a throw or just take it himself. He is one of the bright spots on this team that's very clear to me and clear to everyone, I think, in this stadium. And I think he has a bright future as a football player.
And, I mean, hey, I'm starting to like Southfield A&T's running game. I mean, Stoney Creek defense has held them pretty well, but if I would not be surprised if a hole goes and they're just gone.
Yeah, definitely. They've been kind of knocking on the door in the running game. Some big chunk gains, but you can tell that the home run is there somewhere, and it's going to have to come in the second half if they're going to try and dig into this Cougar lead so far. But then onto the Cougars side, what have they been able to do to get themselves this lead? The pick six obviously being a huge piece of that.
I mean, their defense has, after that first touchdown, their defense has really held just very nicely. Obviously, forcing that pick six and forcing Southfield A&T to punt a few times. That defense, honestly, in my opinion, has been the key to the Cougars in this game, this first half specifically.
I totally agree. That defense is stone solid right now. They are not letting Southfield A&T get anything. If you look at the stats, there's 2 interceptions. I mean, there was that one little gimme at the end of this first half, which was the toss-up for a Hail Mary, from their opposite 20. But still, that one interception coming in huge, giving them that extra 6-7 points. Just like it switches the whole game around.
Definitely, and that was a point where, Southfield, they were just trying to get out of their own territory. They were within the 20, and right there on the left side, our close side from our view, that pick six. At the time, it was 7-6, still Stoney Creek lead, but that really broke the game open. And with the struggling offense so far from Southfield, it might be tough to break into. Can't have any more of those mistakes.
And again, speaking of mistakes, like we just mentioned this, flags.
It deserves another mention.
We started this halftime show at 8:30 at the end of the first half, and I am astonished, honestly. Other games are getting into their fourth quarter. We're just starting the third.
And I do want to give one last shout out here before we stumble into the flag conversation again. Some of the flags now pointing towards the student section of Stoney Creek here. I want to talk about the atmosphere here because that's one of my favorite parts of covering high school football is seeing what the student sections bring. And even in the other half of the student section, they caused a couple of penalties themselves with the younger middle school kids.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we were standing at the far side of the field with the younger middle school kids, and they were making some noise over there, making some Southfield A&T shaking their boots over there with the things that they were saying.
I think them by themselves got 2 false starts and a delay a game out of them.
Dad had to yell at them to chill down. It was getting pretty wild over there.
Save it for the second half, he was saying. And now to what we can see for the second half here as the halftime festivities continue, a football throwing accuracy competition being tonight's event. But what do you think that we could see in the first half? Adjustments that could and should be made for both sides. Taryn?
I mean, I think that A&T just needs a little more confidence. Obviously, Stoney hasn't given them much of room to have that confidence, but having your confidence in your quarterback and your running game, if you put that belief in them, they really could make that difference in the second half.
Yeah, like I said earlier, this is a young Southfield A&T team. They have a lot to grow. I think that's where they can improve most for this second half. Just take each play by a learning experience for this offensive line, for this run game. It really starts with that offensive line. If they can create gaps, good blocking opportunities for this run game, for their quarterback, for their running backs, and then that's when the passing game starts to open up. And I really think that if they nail down on those concepts, that it could be a different show in the second half.
And the passing game here from the halftime at festivities, the crowd's getting into it, some rhythm being had as their competition is to throw it into the goal net from what we could see behind the wonderful Stoney Creek cheer team here. And another mention to the cause game for the Team Continue Foundation. We had an interview in the pregame with their president, Rob Price. Everyone's got T-shirts on that they handed out before the game because that is the main theme of this game for this Rochester community here. It's a big deal, and everyone's clad in that kind of armor for that.
Some
for
flags
that cause.
waving.
Oh, yeah, they got everything going on here. So as we begin to wrap up our halftime show here, once again, I want to give a shout-out to some of our student broadcasters from Southfield A&T, Jaden Hudson and Tayshawn Cunningham, joining our Gabe Loper, as well as WJR's Chris Renwick. They've been doing a great job all game long. Hope you guys have been enjoying it so far. And don't forget to stay with us and join us in the post-game show where we'll have interviews not only with some of those student broadcasters, but also our players of the game from the winning team here. And we got a second half to decide which team those players will be from. So to wrap things up here, don't forget, So to follow, so make sure that you follow us here on Instagram as well as subscribe to us on YouTube if that's where you're watching. We got the listening side and we got the watching side for whichever way you enjoy your high school football. We got plenty coming up here on Drive to the Game, so don't go anywhere and be sure you bookmark wherever you find us here. So as a last bit of our conversation here, one last touch on the student section here. Unfortunately, the Southfield A&T side not as packed as the home side for the Cougars here, but just overall, I mean, just tonight, the weather's amazing, the facility is amazing. We got a great privilege to cover this game here at this wonderful high school, genuinely.
I think it's beautiful. Hey, what we did not mention earlier is that Stoney Creek actually does not have a track around their football field, which most high schools in the country do. And so that's what I find fascinating, but I kind of love it because the fans are so much closer to the sidelines. It just feels like we're all one big family.
Oh, yeah. Another thing that's amazing about this field is there's a hill surrounding all of it, and you can see some fans standing on the hill, sitting on the hill, just taking up the weather, the nice 80-degree weather that we have, maybe not for much longer, but just watching some good high school football on Friday night, giving them something to do, and just soaking in the last summer spirit.
Yeah, some of that. And we luckily, when I was on my way in here, I was able to catch the football team. Their tradition for the beginning of their games is they'll come out from the doors of the high school, surrounded by the band, surrounded by the parents and all those supporting them as they parade their way onto the field from the stands. I mean, I was lucky to catch some of that through the student section as well. High fives galore on their way down, no doubt. Just the way that they had this set up here, the Friday night lights. I tried so hard not to say Friday night lights here, but definitely that is the vibe here, and it's going to be a great second half. Hope you guys stick around here for the post game for our player of the game interviews as well as those with our student broadcasters. Thank you for joining us. It's the halftime show here on week 3 of Drive to the Game. We'll send it back to Chris Renwick and our students in the booth.